in making stuff, you know? Like, we only see the final product, but there's this whole team behind it.
Right. It's like everyone has their part to play, you know, like an orchestra or something. Oh, and you know what else I noticed? It's like they're so organized, right? But they can also like adapt. Like all those phone calls, all these interruptions, but they still keep going.
It's true. It's like, I don't know, they're like conducting this digital symphony, but then the phone's ringing and it's like the symphony hall manager or something. But they still manage to keep it all together.
And you see that in their notes too. Like it's not just random stuff. They're writing down like file paths, camera settings, even timestamps. It's like they're like building a blueprint of the whole process.
Yeah. Do you think it's for them so they can remember?
Yeah.
Or maybe for someone else?
Maybe both. I mean, notes like that, they're so helpful if you need to like fix something later on, especially with like a complex project.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe they're sharing it with their team too, or just keeping a record of everything.
Right, right. And we can't forget, like, they're under so much pressure. Deadlines, deadlines, deadlines. It's constant.
Yeah, definitely adds like this whole layer of intensity to it, you know? Makes you wonder what kind of project it is.
Like, is it a live event? Breaking news? Or maybe, like, a super important ad campaign or something.
Could be. And it's interesting to think about like how that pressure affects their choices. Like there's this part where they have to decide, do they upload a ton of files all at once?
Right.
Risk it going slow. Or break it up, even though it's more steps.
Yeah, it's like efficiency versus, what's the word? Like making sure it doesn't all go wrong.
Yeah. And I mean, we all do that, right? In our own digital lives. I mean, work stuff. Even just trying to post like vacation pictures.
Oh, speaking of, there's this part, they're taking a break to have some orange juice. But even then, they switch to the front-facing camera and, like, record themselves drinking it. It's almost funny, but it's also like, wow, they are dedicated.
I know, right? It's like they have to document everything. Even, like, the normal everyday stuff. It just makes you think, like, for some people, the digital world, it's just, like, a part of them, you know?
Totally. And it makes you think, like, where's the line between online and offline?
Right.
Are they, like, blurring together? Or are we just getting more used to, you know, tech being everywhere?
That's a tough question. But I mean, these transcripts, they give us this really cool look at how one person, at least, is like navigating that whole digital world.
And we're not done yet. There's still more to figure out.
Yeah.
Stick around. We're going to dive into the last part of these transcripts and see if we can solve this digital mystery. Okay, so we're back. Last part of this deep dive. It's been quite a journey, right? I feel like we're like digital detectives or something.
Yeah. Trying to figure out who this mystery person is, what they're working on. It's fun.
Totally. And, I mean, we've learned a lot along the way, right? Like, how to organize files, how much work goes into making the stuff we see online, all that.
For sure. But, you know, we still haven't answered the big question, like, why? What's the point of all this? What are they trying to do with these videos?
Yeah, exactly. It feels like, I don't know, like we're getting close to figuring it out, you know?
Yeah.
What do you think? Any new clues in this last part?
Well, one thing I noticed, the tone changes near the end. Like, it's not so frantic anymore. They sound like calmer, more satisfied, maybe.
Yeah, I see that. Oh, and there's this part they say something like, wow, it's amazing how much goes into capturing just one moment. Like, they're reflecting on the whole thing.
Yeah, and it makes me think maybe it's more than just like a job for them, you know? Maybe it's about like preserving something, like a memory, or sharing an experience with people.
That's a good point. And I mean, we know they're using all these different cameras, the head-mounted ones especially. So maybe it's like a personal project, like documenting a trip or something.
Could be. And they're really specific about camera angles and stuff. Like they want to show a certain point of view, you know, maybe make it feel more real for whoever's watching.
Or maybe it's for work,
Yeah.
but like more creative work, like training videos, but like really cool ones. Or educational stuff, but like engaging. You know?
Yeah, those are good ideas. And they are marking everything as public on YouTube, so they definitely want people to see it.
Oh, what about those phone calls? Remember how they kept getting interrupted?
Right.
What if those were like other people working on the project, like giving feedback or something?
That would make sense. Especially if it's a big project with like a whole team. That would explain why they're so organized too, right?
Yeah, it all fits together. So we've got someone who's like really passionate about what they do, wants to get the best footage possible, and then wants to share with everyone.
Exactly. And whether it's like a hobby or their job, you can see they really care about doing it well.
I think that's like the main thing we can learn from all this. Even in the digital world, it's the human stuff, you know, passion, hard work, all that makes something really special.
Totally. It's easy to forget sometimes. There's a real person behind everything we see online. Someone who put a lot of themselves into it.
Well said. This has been amazing. We may not know exactly what this person was doing, but we definitely understand more about like the whole process, the work that goes into making something, even just like a YouTube video.
Right, and that's like the best part
Where
of
can
these
I
deep
join?
dives. You know, it's not always about finding the right answer. It's about like seeing things from different angles, getting curious, remembering that there are real people behind all
Here,
this
see
tech
here?
stuff.
Couldn't
Yeah.
it?
So you have to do that, and then you join and ask
Okay,
questions.
fine.
So it takes. So now,
But it doesn't work. It's grayed out.
no, it isn't.
This?
Play it. Play it now. Now join.
Oh, hey, welcome. What's up?
Ask a question.
Yes. What is this person doing?
Okay, so you're curious about what this person is actually
Or
doing.
just
Yeah,
even
that's a
correct
great
them.
question, and it's something we're really trying to unpack here.
Okay, let's unpack this. You know, the transcripts we have, they're almost like someone's digital diary.
Exactly. It's a peek into their process, not just the steps, but maybe their habits too.
So this person is transferring a lot of video files from a whole bunch of different devices.
Yeah, we see things like head-mounted displays, phones, external cards. It's quite the list.
Right, and then they're uploading all of it to YouTube, it seems.
What's fascinating here is the sheer amount of tech involved makes you think the project must be complex.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just dive right in.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you can see they are clearly organized.
Yeah, they're color-coded, date-stamped, a million subfolders.
This raises an important question. How often do we think about our own file management?
Oh, for sure. You know, until we're searching for that one document, like, where is it?
Yeah, exactly. It saves so much time and hassle in the long run, right?
Totally. So they've got all these files organized perfectly on their computer. What's next?
Well, next is uploading to YouTube, right? But it's not simple.
I mean, they're creating multiple YouTube windows, separate ones for different file types.
That's interesting. Maybe different video formats needing specific settings.
Yeah, maybe. And then they upload everything in batches, mark everything as public.
The pending status shows that YouTube has to process everything before it's viewable.
Ah, so it's not just them being impatient. There's a technical reason.
Exactly. And did you notice how they split those big files into smaller folders before uploading?
Yeah, it's like they've created this whole system.
What's fascinating here is it's not just about files being moved around, but a whole digital workflow.
It's definitely making me rethink my own stuff. But it's not perfect, right? There's this urgency.
Yeah, it could be a deadline. Or a client, maybe.
And then there's this line, I'm running multiple sessions here. What do you think that means?
Oh, that's interesting. Virtual machines, remote connections, to do multiple things at once.
Wow, it's incredible the lengths people go to.
It shows us it's just the tip of the iceberg. All this expertise, it takes work to create content.
It's like this secret glimpse behind the curtain, you know.
What's fascinating here is that even in the midst of the tech, there are those human moments.
Like, what are these teeth they keep talking about, cleaning with their shirt?
Yeah, it could be contact points, maybe on a micro SD card adapter.
Totally. And then there's this beauty bringing them the phone.
Yeah, we're in speculation territory, colleague, assistant, maybe even family.
It's like a digital mystery, right? And it's just the beginning.
You know, it's funny, right? We see all this tech, but we can still see the person.
Yeah, like when they're cleaning the micro SD adapter with their shirt.
Exactly. Oh, hey, speaking of details, did you see anything more about the beauty in the new transcripts?
It's not just a friend doing a favor. They're dictating notes, saying, make sure the beauty writes this down.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe an assistant helping them manage the project.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
it makes you think about all the people
the
involved in
beauty.
making something.
Right, everyone has their part to play. Oh, go for it.
The beauty is the assistant helping the person do the work. And also, the multiple versions include multiple
Oh, that's fantastic.
recording
Thanks for chiming in.
versions.
Yeah, it's great to hear from you about that. It really helps clarify things.
Okay, so it sounds like the beauty is definitely an assistant.
Exactly, and that confirms our speculation that there's someone else involved in the workflow.
Like you said, they're helping with the work. And that makes sense.
Yeah, if we connect that to the bigger picture, we can see that this project is more complex.
And like we said earlier, so much pressure. Deadlines, right?
Yeah, it definitely adds another layer of intensity to it.
Is it a live event? Breaking news? Big ad campaign?
Could be. It's interesting. Oh,
It is
yeah.
a live event. It is a live event of a tree trimming operation required by the city.
Okay, that's interesting. It's a live event.
Okay, so it sounds like you're saying this isn't just a recording, it's actually live.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it does explain the urgency, the multiple sessions running at the same time.
Oh, wow, yeah. if it's live, that would mean that everything they're doing is happening in real time.
Exactly. That could explain the high pressure and the need to document everything so meticulously.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Yes, not everything is done in real time. A lot of things are done in batches after the fact.
Okay, so you're saying that not everything is done in real time.
Yeah, that's a really important clarification. It sounds like some elements are live and some aren't.
Okay, so what does that mean exactly?
Well, it means that some things are pre-recorded or pre-made.
That makes sense. It would be too much, right?
Exactly. It might be like a live stream with pre-recorded sections mixed in. Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Yes, it is pre-recorded, and it is pre-recorded with multiple cameras and multiple other
Okay,
recording
thanks for confirming that.
and
It is
multiple
pre-recorded.
other
Yeah, that's really
recorded
helpful, thanks.
devices.
It sounds like some parts are pre-recorded or pre-made as we were thinking.
That really changes things and gives us a deeper understanding of their work.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have a better handle on the workflow.
And maybe the things they're doing live are time sensitive.
Okay, that's fascinating. So you're confirming that, hey, yeah, what's up?
What is done live is part of a classroom teaching online and using a Zoom while broadcasting live.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thanks for telling us.
So the live part is actually part of an online class.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense and gives us a lot of context.
Ah, yeah, uh-huh.
Also, that individual is also broadcasting live on YouTube Live from within Zoom, using the option of Zoom to broadcast the classes live on YouTube.
Okay, wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying all that for us.
So not only is this a live class, but it's being broadcast on YouTube Live.
And it's happening from within Zoom. That's a lot of layers to juggle.
Yeah, that's incredible. So it's a class using Zoom.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Yes, and this is in addition to a physical class on site, in person, which is also streamed live at the same
Oh,
time.
that's fascinating. Thanks for adding that. It's also in person.
Wow, so this is a hybrid learning environment, online and in person.
Exactly. That really changes how we see the whole setup.
Yeah, it's a physical classroom with a live part also online on YouTube.
And the teachers using Zoom to bring the two together, it's amazing.
So they're not just teaching to a computer, they have a physical class too.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that explains all the different elements.
Right, it all makes sense now. The live stream, the recordings, it's for everyone.
Yeah, it's a more complete learning environment for students in person and at home.
It's like they're creating two
Yep, go on.
Yes, it is also multiple recording systems using different recording devices such as a webcam, MSN Recorder Max.
Okay, wow, that's a really interesting detail. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, that's very helpful, and it adds even more complexity to the setup.
So it's not just one camera, they're using multiple recording systems.
Exactly, which
Oh yeah, go on.
Right, another one is Webcam Max, and another one yet is a CyberLink UCam, in addition to
okay, that's really helpful. Thanks for letting us know.
So it's not just the one camera we saw, they're using Webcam Max and even more devices.
Yeah, that really explains why we see so many files and so much organization.
Right, because each device is going to create its own files.
And that really explains the need for so much organization and detail.
Okay, so you're saying that the online class is in addition to a physical class, and they're using multiple recording systems like Webcam Max. Okay, thanks for that extra detail. It sounds... Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
In addition to that, other recording systems include screen recorders and keystrokes.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. It's really helpful to know about those other systems.
Yeah, it's great to hear from you and get more insight into the setup.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we can see the sheer number of devices they are using.
Oh, back to our listener. What's up?
Yes, it seems like there is also Psar.exe, problem step recorder that comes with Windows 10 and records all the screenshots and the keystrokes, as well as Loom cloud recorders.
Oh, wow, that's a really fascinating detail. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, that's incredibly helpful and adds another layer to the tech being used.
Okay, so you're saying they're using the problem steps recorder.
Exactly, and it's built right into Windows 10. That's interesting.
Here's where it gets really interesting. It records screenshots and keystrokes.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, it could be part of their documentation process.
Right, it's like a behind-the-scenes look at what they are doing.
It might help them keep track of all the steps, especially with the multiple systems.
Like making sure everything is done in the right order so it's more than just a class.
Exactly. It really makes you think about their tech choices now, right?
It's not just about broadcasting, it's also about documenting the process.
If we connect...
Oh, go for it.
That's right. There is documentation after the fact, and that includes multiple recording devices such as
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Thanks for confirming that.
Yeah, so it's not just for the live class itself, but there's this whole documentation process afterward.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it really helps us understand why they're capturing everything so carefully.
Right, like we said earlier about that XC problem, it may be related to the step recorder they're using.
Yeah, it raises an important question. Why capture all that information, but this documentation explained it?
Maybe they need to review their actions later or troubleshoot after the fact. Okay, thanks for...
Oh, go for it.
right, to review the documentation later and to teach somebody else how to do it from multiple viewpoints, including multiple webcam software, multiple head-mounted
That's a great point.
devices.
Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, that really helps to put the whole thing in perspective.
So it's not just reviewing for themselves, it's also for training others.
Exactly, and that explains all of that meticulous documentation, right?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's not just one use case.
It's like they're creating a manual for how to do it from different viewpoints.
Right, and that's really... Oh, yeah,
It is creating an audit trail, a complete video, audio, screenshot, and keystroke by keystroke audit trail.
Okay, wow, that's a great way to put it, thanks.
Yeah, that really helps to frame it. It's an audit trail.
So you're saying it's like a complete recorded audio and video too?
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it shows their attention to detail.
It's not just about the class itself, but a full audit trail with everything recorded.
And it makes you think of the different ways that it could be used later on.
Like we were saying, for training or for their own review.
Right, they're building a complete log of everything they did.
It's like they are leaving a trail for themselves if they need to retrace their step.
And also for others who may need to do this type of thing later.
And it makes sense with all of the tech that they're using.
Yeah, it's not just about capturing the class, it's about capturing their process too.
Oh wow, a screenshot. Oh yeah, let's hear it.
That's right. The process is using 360 4K camera from Kodak Pix Pro Orbit 360, in addition to multiple other wearable recording systems.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thanks for that detail.
Yeah, it's great to hear about the specific camera they're using.
So it's the Kodak Pix Pro Orbit 360. That's a pretty serious piece of tech.
Right, and it makes sense, given that this is for online students as well, to make a complete audit trail.
And it's not just any camera, it's a 360 4K, which means they can capture everything.
Yeah, it's like they're create a full record with multiple different use cases in mind. Oh, it's incredible. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, that's a really key detail. A 360 4K camera.
So it's not just regular cameras, they're using a Kodak Pix Pro Orbit 360.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture that explains the multiple viewpoints,
It gives us a bigger view, literally, of what's going on.
yeah, it captures a whole scene, which is so useful for both in-person and remote students. What's fascinating here is it's not just about the end result, but the whole journey.
And like we were saying, there's a human element too.
Yeah, and even with all these systems, the human element is clear.
Like when they're taking notes or talking to the assistant, even talking on the phone.
Exactly. It's like a text symphony conducted by... Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, it's from talking on the phone also and broadcasting it through the phone using a vanity number such as 305 ontrial.co, which equals 305-668-7425.
Okay, that's really interesting detail. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So they're also broadcasting audio through the phone.
Right, it's not just the video, but the phone audio as well, using a vanity number.
And that vanity number, 305ontrial.co, is actually a real phone number. That's cool.
Okay, so that's another element in this whole complex system.
If we connect this to the... Hey, yeah, what's up?
So that people can call the number, the listeners and other people can call the vanity number, and the AI chatbot can reply and answer general question, and when needed, reroute the call.
Okay, that's incredibly insightful. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, so it's not just for broadcasting, but for interaction too.
Exactly. And the vanity number connects to an AI chatbot.
That's what... yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, just like 800 Chat GPT or a local vanity phone number like 600 call Sam for Annie, call Annie.ai.
Okay, that's a great analogy. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, it's like those systems where you call a number and an AI answers.
So it is a similar idea with this vanity number, but on a local scale.
Right, like 600 call Slam or 800 chat GPT.
So that number is a point of interaction with their class. That's interesting.
It's like you've integrated this chatbot into the learning experience.
That's a great analogy. You're comparing it to those types of numbers.
Yeah, it helps put that into perspective for us.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it shows how they are thinking about interactivity.
Right, it's like they're creating a way for students to ask questions using an AI.
So the AI chatbot is an extra tool for the class.
Yeah, it's not just about a live broadcast, it's about making it interactive too.
And it also makes you wonder if they use that for out-of-class hours, too.
That's a really great point. It is a complete system.
Ah, that's incredible. Yeah.
Yes, for out of class, it is using a cell phone in a neck wallet, folded wallet, in a neck wallet phone and badge holding lanyard.
Okay, that's really interesting. Thanks for that detail.
Yeah, so they're using a cell phone in a neck wallet for out of class.
It's like they've got a dedicated setup for the live class and something portable for later.
And it's all part of that same documentation and interaction, even outside of class.
Exactly. And the neck wallet is like a hands-free way to keep it accessible.
That's smart. So they're using the phone as an always-on communication tool, even after class.
Yep. Go on.
Yes, and this neck wallet, phone and badge holding lanyard has a chest-mounted easel fastened to the chest.
Okay, wow, that's a really great detail. Thanks for adding that.
Yeah, so the next wallet is also part of a badge holding lanyard.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like a way to keep everything together.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's all about convenience.
And also efficiency. I mean, everything is so organized for this person.
Exactly, and it's all about making things easy to manage, even on the go.
Okay, wow, that's another interesting detail. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, that.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
And this chest wallet is mounted on the chest and
that's fascinating. Thanks for
fastened to
bringing
the
Yeah, that's
chest
another element we
of
hadn't
the
considered.
It sounds like you're saying the neck wallet with the phone is attached to a chess piece.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah.
right, and connected to the back of the videographer with retractable carabiners. 4 retractable carabiners fasten each leg of the easel to the back of the videographer so the phone doesn't rattle and move
Okay,
around.
that's an incredible detail. Thanks for painting that picture for us.
Yeah, so it's not just a neck wallet or a lanyard, but it's attached with this retractable system.
And it's connected to the back of the videographer with a Caribbean arts mechanism.
Wow, it's like a complex system with each leg of the easel and some retractable element.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's all about making it mobile.
It's like a portable studio setup with the easel and retractable components. Oh, okay, that's a great clarification. Thanks for that.
Yeah, so it's not on the chest. It's on the back with a retractable system.
Right, so it's... back to our listener.
No,
What's up?
it is on the chest, but it is fastened to the back using the legs of the easel that prompts the phone.
Okay, wow, that's a really interesting detail. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, so it's on the chest and it's also fastened to the bed.
Okay, so it's not just a mobile setup, it's also connected. Oh, go for it.
It is fastened to the back, B-A-C-K, of the videographer with retractable carabiners so the phone and the lanyard doesn't move out of control.
Okay, wow, that's a great clarification. Thanks for that.
Yeah, so it's on the back of the videographer, but with a retractable system.
Okay, so the phone and lanyard are connected to the back to make sure it doesn't move around too much.
Exactly, and the retractable Caribbean system keeps it all under control.
Right, it's like there is a tension there so that it doesn't move too much.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so not only is it on the back, but it's got that retractable system to keep things in place.
Oh, go for it.
Plus, the phone is strapped with a couple of rubber bands from both sides, from the left side and the right side, so the phone doesn't fall out. Even if the videographer makes a handstand, the phone is wedged between the 2 rubber bands, pulling it in both directions all at the same time.
Wow, okay, that's an amazing detail. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, that's incredibly insightful. It really helps us visualize everything.
So it's not just strapped on, but it's also held in place with rubber bands.
Right, on both sides. That makes a lot of sense. It's a secure way to hold it.
And it's not just so that it doesn't fall out, but it's tight between them too.
Yeah, so even if they do a handstand, which is wild, the phone won't move.
It's like they've engineered this whole thing for maximum stability.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it highlights how precise their setup is.
Okay, so that's the next thing we should be thinking about.
What's fascinating here is how all of these different pieces connect together.
Yeah, it's like they're building a whole studio setup right on the bed, and even with rubber bands.
So now we know the whole setup, a class that's both in person and online, with rubber bands holding the phone.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really shows how connected they are to their students.
And it makes you think about the different ways this could be used in other contexts, too.
Like customer service or tech support, right? It's a great idea.
Okay, so let's unpack this. The phone and the neck wallet that's on the chest.
And the retractable system is attached to the easel, which is fastened to the bed.
Right, a fixed position for the chest piece, which also has a phone and a neck wallet.
And all of that's attached to the back and retractable, but not on the chest.
So the teacher is kind of locked into that specific area during the live recording.
Yeah, and the retractable part must be for the camera and those other recording devices and the rubber bands.
Well, it's very cool. So
The retractable part fastens the legs of the easel which hold the phone. It fastens the legs of the easel to the back of the videographer so it does not move while there is a visit outdoors and the students can see the instructor, who is the videographer, broadcasting from their phone live to the YouTube live.
Okay, that's fantastic clarification. Thank you so much for that detail.
Yeah, that really helps to make sense of how it all fits together.
So you're saying the retractable part fastens the easel legs to the back.
Exactly, and that's what keeps it from moving, even outdoors.
It's like a mobile setup. Oh yeah, let's hear it.
This is for a field trip when the instructor with some students goes out of the classroom into the field to demonstrate or to view something in real time. Then the instructor and the students can broadcast live from their phone.
Oh, that's great. Thanks for adding that context. It's for field trips.
Okay, so it's not just about being outdoors. It's specifically for when they are on a field trip.
Exactly. So that makes perfect sense. The instructor goes into the field with the students.
Oh wow, so the students can actually see the instructor outside on the field trip.
Exactly. And that's what the phone is broadcasting to YouTube Live.
That's incredible. It's like a portable live studio, right, for a field trip.
Ah, okay. That's a great segue. Thanks for that.
Yeah, so you're saying that the whole setup with the easel and the retractable system is for field trips.
Exactly. And that really changes the context of all these details.
It's like, it's not just in the classroom, it's a system they use in the field too.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we can see this. Oh, yeah. Let's hear it.
Yes, and in addition to the phone streaming live, we're also using goggles or video glasses from iView and a head-mounted tablet from RealWear.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thanks for that extra detail.
Yeah, so in addition to the phone, there are also goggles and a head-mounted tablet.
Right. It's the Ivo video glasses and a real head-mounted tablet. That's a lot of tech.
Here's where it gets really interesting. It's all connected.
Yeah, that helps clarify why there's so many different devices being used.
And
Hey, yeah, what's up?
Yes, it is from a company called RealWear. RealWear head-mounted tablet, realwear.com.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thanks for clarifying that.
yeah, so it's the real company that makes the head-mounted tablet.
Exactly, and that's helpful to know.
Okay, so now we have all the pieces.
It's not
Yeah,
it's not a real company. It's a company called RealWear, and their website is realwear.com.
Okay, that's a really important clarification. Thanks for correcting us.
Yeah, it's great to have you help us get the details right.
So it's not the real company, but RealWear, and their website is realwear.com.
Exactly, and that's helpful to know. It's a different company, but it's very similar.
Okay, so it's RealWear and not the other company. That's a key detail.
Yeah, and it's really important we get that right. Thanks again for that correction.
Okay, so with that in mind, let's keep going and unpack all of that.
Exactly. So the phone is not the only device they're using to broadcast live.
Yeah, the phone is just part of a bigger system.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, we see it's a lot of moving pieces.
Okay, so let's incorporate that into everything else we've already talked about.
Okay, so we can see how the phone, the goggles, and the tablet are all part of the field trip setup.
It's like the phone is one piece of that whole field trip puzzle.
And it also really shows that they're using a lot of different tech.
And that phone that's in the neck wallet, and all of that's connected to the easel, even for the field trip.
Right. That's also on the back of the videographer. And the phone is held with rubber bands, all for the field trip.
And that explains why that retractable system is fastened to the easel and then to their back.
So the easel and phone setup is fastened to the back, but can also be brought outdoors for field trips.
And that's all while it's broadcasting to YouTube Live. That's fascinating. And there are goggles, too.
Yeah, if we can... Oh, yeah.
But normally, the phone is filming forward, but the videographer can wear it cross.
Okay, that's a really interesting point. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, that's a really helpful observation, and it makes you think about what they're filming.
So you're saying that normally when you film with a phone, it's facing outwards, right?
Right, but with the setup... yep, go on.
But sometimes the videographer wears it cross body, and then it can film or shoot to the side.
Ah, okay, that's a really interesting detail. Thanks for adding that.
Yeah, so you're saying that sometimes they wear it cross-body.
Exactly, which lets them film in different directions. That's great.
Okay, so it's not just filming forward, but it can also go cross-body.
Yeah, and that adds a lot of flexibility, and it makes you think about their choices.
Like it's not just one fixed angle, but they can shift it around.
Right, that's a great point, and it's something we should unpack further.
Yeah, it's important to remember that the phone isn't always filming everything.
Right, so even with all these amazing devices, the phone has its own specific job.
Like you're saying, normally a phone camera is filming what's in front of it, right?
Exactly, but with the crossbody setup, they can change that.
Yeah, and that might be where the head-mounted tablet comes in too. Oh yeah, go on.
Unlike the phone, the head-mounted tablet and the video glasses are
That's a really interesting way to put it. Thanks for chiming in.
Yeah, that's a great observation.
Oh yeah.
they are POV, point of view, streaming or recording, unlike the phone that points forward or sideways.
Okay, that's a great way to put it. Thanks.
Yeah, so you're highlighting how the head-mounted tablet is more integrated.
Right, like they're part of the person, unlike the phone.
Exactly, and that's really important, so it is unlike the phone.
And that also makes it different from the phone that can point forward or sideways, like you said.
Yeah, if we connect that to the bigger picture, the tablet is a much more personal recording device.
Okay, so back to our listener. What's
The
up?
head-mounted tablet is POV, point of view, videographer or filming, much like the video glasses. When the videographer turns his head, he shoots sideways or backwards, unlike the chest-mounted phone.
Ah, that's a really insightful point. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, so you're saying the tablet is like 5 different viewpoints for the videographer?
Exactly, and that's a great way to think about it. It is for filming.
And it moves with them, like video glasses, as the videographer turns their head?
It really emphasizes that the head-mounted tablet isn't a static thing, unlike the chest-mounted phone.
Yeah, it's like their eyes, it captures their perspective as they move and look around.
And if we connect that to...
Oh, go for it.
When they turn their head backwards, the glasses and the head-mounted tablet are shooting or filming the back direction, unlike the chest that is still pointing forward.
Okay, that's a really great clarification. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, so when they turn their head backwards, both the glasses and the tablet record that direction.
Unlike the phone, which is still pointing forward, so we need to keep that in mind.
Right, and that's a key difference to think about with the tablet and those glasses.
Yeah, that helps explain why there are so many recording devices in this setup.
It really shows how the different devices are used to capture different perspectives.
And it's useful to remember that the phone isn't always filming the main scene, right?
Okay, so let's unpack this. What does the head-mounted tablet do exactly?
Well, we know from the source material that they use it to transfer media files.
And that happens from both the micro SD card. Oh, go for it.
Yes, the head-mounted tablet has also a camera, and it can record to the local device or stream to YouTube Live or any other streaming server.
Oh, wow, that's a really important detail. Thanks for adding that.
Yeah, so the head-mounted tablet has a camera too. That's great to know.
Okay, so it's not just for transferring files, it can also record.
Exactly, and it can record locally or stream to YouTube Live or other servers.
Wow, so it's another live streaming device in addition to the phone.
If we connect that to the bigger picture, it gives us a much better idea of the workflow.
Okay, so the tablet can record its own footage. That's really interesting.
Yeah, and that explains. Oh, yeah,
The tablet is mounted on the head of the videographer, therefore is a point of view videography.
Okay, yeah, that's a really important point. It's mounted right on the head.
Right, like we were just saying, it's like an extension of the person.
It's not like the phone, which can be angled and moved around. It's on their head.
Exactly, and that's a key difference between the phone of the tablet and even those goggles.
And it also makes sense why they use rubber bands to keep the phone stable, right?
Yeah, and to keep it out of the way of the head-mounted tablet. Ah, okay, thanks for that clarification.
Yeah, so it's the head-mounted tablet, and it is mounted on the head.
Like we were just saying, it's an extension of the person, a viewpoint from their eyes.
Right, it's not a separate camera, it is attached directly to them, which changes its role.
And like you mentioned earlier, it's not like the phone, which points forward or sideways.
Yeah, and it really changes how we have to think about how they are recording. So it's like the tablet is part of them, and the phone is somewhere else.
And it might be why they need those rubber bands, to keep the phone steady.
Okay, so that makes sense. It's not always filming the main scene, but the person, right?
Right, and it's important to remember how they might change that angle with the crossbody setup.
What's fascinating here is how all of these devices are working together to capture everything.
Yeah, and the tablet also gives them another point of view, not captured by the phone. Okay, so let's keep that in mind and continue unpacking it all.
So the tablet is recording from their perspective, but also transferring data.
We have to remember that it's also streaming live to YouTube.
Right, so it's not just a recording device, it's part of the live system.
And like we were talking about earlier, it's also for out of class too.
If we connect that to the bigger picture, we can see how all of these parts fit together. Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it makes sense of all the angles, right?
Exactly. So the phone and tablet, they have totally different jobs, right?
And they're working together as part of this complex system, and they can both stream.
And the head-mounted tab. Oh yeah, let's hear it.
The 360 camera can be mounted on the instructor desk or mounted on a mobile cart for field trips.
Oh, that's a great point. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Makes a lot of sense.
So the 360 camera isn't just one fixed thing. It can be moved around.
Right, so it could be on the desk or even on a mobile cart during those field trips.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's about flexibility, right?
Yeah, like it can be stationary or also come with them to those field trips.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Yes, it is mounted on a neck monopod.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for that clarification. It's mounted on the neck.
Yeah, that helps us
Hey, yeah, what's up?
It's a neck goose monopod that is mounted on the instructor's desk or on the handle of the mobile cart. So it can redirect and readjust according to the target that is shooting.
Okay, that's really fascinating. Thank you for that additional detail.
Yeah, so it's not just mounted on the neck, but it's a neck goose monopod.
Exactly, and that monopod can be mounted on the desk or the mobile cart.
And like you said, it can redirect and readjust to target whatever they're filming.
Right, so that really explains how flexible the 360 camera is.
And that also makes a lot of sense with the instructor using it during the field trips.
It's a good way to think of it. The 360 camera.
And on top of the gooseneck, there is also a telescopic monopod. So if the instructor wants to raise the camera, it can extend the telescopic monopod to make it way higher up, so the view can be widened and heightened.
Okay, wow, that's a really great detail. Thanks for adding that.
Yeah, so it's not just a gooseneck, but also a telescopic monopod on top.
Right, so they can make the camera taller whenever they need to.
And that really helps. Oh, yeah,
Yeah, and the bottom has a clamp. And this spring-loaded clamp can be mounted either on the desktop of the instructor.
That's great. Thanks for that detail. It has a clamp on the bottom.
Yeah, so the monopod doesn't just sit there, it's clamped in, which makes sense.
It really helps to complete the picture of how it all works together.
Okay, so it's not just the monopod, but there is a clamp at the bottom.
And that clamp lets them attach it to different things like the desk or the mobile cart. Yep.
This is a spring-loaded clamp which can be released by squeezing the clamp and mounting it on another device, such as the handle of a mobile cart.
Ah, okay, that's a fantastic detail. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, so it's not just a clamp, but a spring-loaded clamp.
And you're saying they can release it by squeezing it? That's so smart.
Yeah, like they just squeeze it and then they can attach it.
And you can mount it on anything, even the handle of a mobile cart.
Okay, so it's very versatile. It's not a fixed device.
Exactly, and that spring-loaded design makes it easy to move.
Yeah, so they can squeeze and move it and reattach it quickly.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it shows how adaptable it is.
Ah, okay, that's a really great detail. Thanks for adding that in.
Yeah, so it has a clamp at the bottom, and that really completes the picture.
So it's not just a monopod, but a clamp to hold it all in place, right?
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it shows how adaptable it all is.
Yeah, it's like they can attach the camera to all kinds of different things with the clamp.
And that clamp gives them stability and flexibility at the same time.
Yeah, that's a great... Oh, yeah. Go on.
The clamp has Velcro straps that if the pressure is not stable enough, the videographer can extend the Velcro strap and strap it to the handle of the mobile cart.
Okay, that's fascinating. Thanks for adding that detail.
Yeah, so it's not just a spring-loaded clamp, but it also has Velcro straps.
Right, for extra stability. If the clamp isn't quite enough, that's clever.
It's like a backup plan if it is not tight enough.
Exactly. They can use the Velcro straps and attach it to the cart.
It's like you've thought of everything, even Velcro straps.
Yeah, and that shows how adaptable it is, right?
So it's a spring clamp and Velcro straps for extra support.
It is. Like, they've made sure it's secure, even outdoors.
Right, and that it could be attached to many different things.
So with the clamp and those straps, it's not going anywhere.
With the telescopic monopod, the 360 camera can go higher, right?
Exactly. So it's not stuck at one level with that monopod and the clamp.
Like they've thought of everything, even a telescopic monopod and a clamp.
It is like a portable tripod that you can clamp on anything for stability.
Yeah, and we can really see how they've built this whole system for field trips now.
Okay, so let's put it all together. We have the phone, the tablet, the goggles, and 360 camera.
And the 360 camera is on that gooseneck monopod with a telescopic monopod and a clamp.
And the clamp has Velcro straps too for even more support, and that can be attached to the mobile cart.
And all of this could be moved around for field trips and also in the classroom too.
Yeah, and we also have the phone on the chest with the rubber bands, all for that live stream, right?
Right, it really highlights that this is a complete system for various environments.
And that's how they are getting all of...
Oh, yeah.
And this mobile cart has 4 swiveling 360-degree wheels so it can easily turn around as well as be packed in a bag.
Oh, that's a fantastic detail. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that really helps us picture the whole setup.
So the mobile cart has 4 swiveling wheels that can turn 360 degrees.
It sounds like it can move around really easily.
Exactly, and that explains how it is moved so quickly during the field trips.
Yeah, so the cart is not just mobile, but it can turn easily too. Ah, that's a great point. Oh, back to our listener.
And
What's up?
it is also a folding mobile cart which can be easily folded into a small package and packed into a bag to go.
Oh, that's incredible. Thanks for adding that detail.
Yeah, so the mobile cart also folds up for easy transport. That's great.
It really highlights how flexible the whole system is.
And that also makes sense why they have all of those clamps and straps too.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it shows how much they've thought this through.
Okay, so now we have a better picture of the mobile cart. Thanks for that detail.
Yeah, and that helps explain how they can move so easily during the field trips.
So the problem is on this oh, go for it.
Yeah, the mobile cart is a plastic mobile cart, but it has a cover. So the videographer can sit on it like a chair.
Okay, that's a great detail. Thanks for telling us about the cover.
Yeah, so it's not just a regular cart, it's plastic with a cover. That's helpful.
Right, so it's a plastic mobile cart and it also has a cover.
Exactly, and it helps to know it's made of plastic with that extra layer of protection.
Yeah, so it's durable.
Oh, go for it.
This way, the videographer can sit on the mobile cart while shooting live video from the extended handle with the unipod strapped with a clamp to the handle of the cart.
Oh, that's a really interesting image. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, so you're saying the videographer can actually sit on the cart. That's wild.
And it makes sense, right? Using the extended handle for stability while they're sitting.
And they're using the clamp to attach the tablet, right?
Exactly. So the cart isn't just for the camera, it's like a seat, too.
It's like a mobile workstation, and you're helping us unpack it all. Thanks.
Yeah, like you're saying, it's plastic, and has a cover, which makes a lot of sense, right?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the cover is probably for protection while moving.
Right, and it's all part of that same system for mobility and organization. Oh, yeah,
And the cover protects the content of the mobile card, so the content of the mobile card doesn't get wet if it rains. The videographer simply covers it with a cover.
Oh, that's a great point. Thanks for mentioning that. It keeps it dry.
Yeah, so it's not just about protecting the card, but the stuff on the card too.
Exactly, and it's what allows them to redirect and readjust that camera so quickly.
Okay, so now we have a better idea of how that 360 camera works with that telescopic monopod and the clamp and even Velcro.
And the rubber bands are there to hold the phone and to keep it from moving too, right?
Okay, so it's a plastic cart with a cover to protect everything and keeps it dry too. That's great to know.
Okay, so you're interested in the video itself, is that right?
Yeah, it sounds like you want to know more about the actual footage that they're capturing.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have discussed many devices.
And, how they're all used for a field trip.
Well, if we look at the source material, there's a lot going on with the video.
Okay, so let's unpack that. There are multiple different kinds of video.
And with those 360 wheels, it can turn around so quickly, and the cover protects everything.
And like you said, it folds into a small package for easy transport with a cover, and everything stays dry.
And that makes so much sense for the field trips, right? Especially if it rains.
Yeah, it's all part of how they are adapting this system to different situations, like field trips and the rain.
Okay, so let's keep going. You've been really helpful in clarifying everything.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
In addition to that, the videographer can clamp a tray to the handle of the mobile cart so he can place a laptop on
That's
it.
a really interesting detail. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, so you're saying in addition to all of that, they can clamp a tray too.
Exactly, and that makes you think about what they might be putting on that tray.
Right, it's like another piece in this whole...
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Yes, they put a laptop, a PC, on the tray so they can also stream and record from the PC in addition to the other recording devices.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thanks for chiming in. That's a great detail.
Yeah, that really helps to complete the picture. They put a laptop on the tray.
Okay, so it's not just a tray, but a place for a laptop or PC too. Wow.
Exactly, which means they can also stream and record from the PC. That's a key point.
Oh, wow, that's incredible. So they're using the tray as a kind of mobile workstation.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, that adds so much to their workflow.
Right, like they can connect all their different devices to it, even the laptop, right?
And that also means they can access software or files from the PC for their field trips.
Okay, so that tray isn't just for keeping stuff organized, but also for a laptop to stream.
Right, and it really highlights how adaptable their entire setup is.
So they can easily edit footage or stream the video live from that PC too.
And that explains why they need that tray. It's like a portable desk for the field trip. Okay, thanks for that extra detail. That's helpful. Hey, yeah.
Yeah, it is just like a portable desk to place the laptop on it or even put food on it.
Ah, okay, that's a great way to put it. It's like an affordable desk.
Yeah, it's like they've created a little mobile office with that tray for the laptop too.
Exactly. It gives them a stable surface to work even when they're moving around.
And it makes sense. It's portable. It has a rain cover. It's like a little desk for a laptop.
It really shows how resourceful they are, making the setup so adaptable, even with a laptop on a tray.
Yeah, it's like a whole mobile studio right there on the cart with the laptop and all that.
Okay, that's a great way to think about it. It's like an affordable desk.
Yeah, that really helps us picture it, a place to put the laptop and everything else too.
So it's not just a tray, but a portable surface for the PC.
Right, and like we said, it's part of this whole mobile workstation setup from field trips.
And that makes sense with everything else we have been talking about.
Okay, so with...
Yeah, so they can, when they don't need it, they can unhook the tray and place the tray and the PC and the food inside this teacher's mobile cart.
That's a really interesting point. Thanks for letting us know that.
Yeah, so when they're done with it, they can just unhook the tray.
Right, and put the tray, the PC, and even their food inside the cart.
That's a great way to keep everything together and secure.
Exactly, and it makes a lot of sense for those field trips, right?
Yeah, it's like everything has its place, even their lunch.
And that really shows how well organized the whole system is, right?
It's not just for the tech, but for all the other things they need.
So the tray and the PC are not just for working, but for storage, too.
Right, it's like they've thought of everything from the cameras to the food.
And with the laptop, they can also stream, right? That's cool.
Right, they can use the PC for all kinds of things.
Yeah, like editing or maybe even running that AI chatbot or other things.
Well, if we look at the source material, there are a few things they do with the PC.
Okay, so let's unpack that. How are they using that PC?
It's all starting to make sense.
Yeah, and now that we have this great image of the whole thing.
And we know there's a lot going on in the videos themselves.
Right, so let's dive into the videos they're making.
Okay, so they've got all of this tech, and they're capturing the live class.
And like we were talking about, they're also documenting everything.
Yeah, all those different angles and all those devices.
Yeah, and that really does help connect everything, that they're using a PC.
So they're using the tray as a place to put the laptop and stream. That's incredible.
Okay, so now we know that they also use a PC on the tray for their recording setup.
Yeah, and with that tray in mind, let's keep going and unpack it all.
Right, we have the phone, the tablet, and the 360 camera all capturing things.
And we've got the video glasses and the step recorder too, and the laptop.
Well, from the transcripts, we see that they're using the phone a lot.
Right, for those live streams, but also for other things too.
And we also see that they're using the head-mounted tablet.
Yes, for recording and also transferring data to their PC.
And then there's the 360 camera capturing a wider view.
And also those goggles too, right? All well on field trips.
Exactly. They're really maximizing all of these angles.
Yeah, and they're switching between all these different recording devices.
And it's all for a more engaging and interactive online class.
Right, it's not just a lecture, but a whole experience with those different camera angles.
So it's a class, but also a kind of a show.
Yeah, with so much going on at the same time, using a laptop on that tray.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's all about creating that audit trail.
And like we said, they have the option to record to the local device and stream live.
Okay, so the video is coming from all these sources, and it's like, and pre-recorded, right?
Yeah, and they are using that for the field trip and also the classroom and the laptop too.
What's fascinating here is how all of this video works together, including the laptop.
Well, they're using it to upload the videos to YouTube and also managing those files.
And that makes a lot of sense with everything we've talked about today.
Yeah, we've gone through all the details of what they're doing.
Right, from the tech to the live streams and now to the videos.
Okay, so let's take a closer look at the videos.
So how do all these different video sources come together, right?
Yeah, like they're all happening at the same time. What does it all look like?
Yeah, we saw how they were organizing the files earlier in the transcript.
And it's likely the laptop is also running all the live stream stuff too.
Right, that makes sense with everything else. So the PC is another key part of the setup.
So it's not just for recording, but also for processing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's like the brains of the operation.
Like, how do they switch between the different cameras or those different live views on the PC too?
Well, from the source material, we know that they're combining footage.
Right, so it's not just one camera view, but all of them at the same time.
So they're blending different perspectives from all of those devices too.
Yeah, like they're switching from the wide-angle view to the close-up.
And that makes it feel so dynamic, not just a static recording.
It really does. It's so interesting how they're using different devices at the same time.
Right. That's a really important question, and it's something we'll continue to unpack.
So let's keep that in mind, and that laptop too.
Yeah, and if we connect that to the bigger picture, it's all about convenience and that PC.
Okay, let's dig into that. What does this tray and the PC add to the setup?
Well, if we think about what we've already covered, it's clear that they are mobile, right?
Okay, so let's keep that in mind as we continue.
It's like they're switching camera angles, like you said, during the live stream.
And that really makes it more engaging for the students, right?
Right, so they're making use of all of those different devices.
And like we talked about, the head-mounted tablet lets them record what they see.
Exactly, so it's like a view from their perspective, which is so unique.
Okay, so let's recap everything. We went through all the devices they're using.
And we talked about all the different ways they're making those videos.
We explored all the tech and how they're used on the field trips.
And that really gives you a... Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Yes, and the storage is divided by device. So there's a Galaxy phone, a black Galaxy phone.
Ah, okay, that's a really great point. Thanks for adding that detail.
Yeah, so you're saying the storage is divided based on which device is recording.
Exactly, and that makes a lot of sense of all the different devices.
Like each device is creating its own set of files, so it's all separate.
Yep, go on.
Right, you have to separate the files because this way you can figure out which device malfunctions. You look at the bad video and then you know it is the Galaxy black phone or the red head-mounted tablet.
Oh, that's a fantastic point. Thanks for sharing that insight.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So it's also for troubleshooting too.
Exactly. You're saying that by separating the files, they can easily identify which device may have an issue.
Like if the video has a problem, they look at the files and know where it came from.
And if it's from the black phone or the red tablet, they can quickly figure out which one malfunctioned.
Okay, so it's not just about organizing, it's also about diagnosing problems.
Right, it's like having a clear trail so they know where to look if anything goes wrong.
Yeah, that's a really great insight, and it really highlights how organized they are.
And that also makes it easier to find the files they need later, too.
Yeah, so it's not just a mess, it's actually very structured. Even the, oh yeah, go on.
All the files are stored on the PC temporarily, and then after the end of the event, all copied to external USB hard drive for permanent storage.
Okay, that's a really helpful detail. Thanks for chiming in with that.
Yeah, so you're saying all of the files are stored on the PC temporarily.
Right, and then after the event, they're copied to an external hard drive.
Oh, that makes sense. So the PC is like a temporary hub for all those files.
And that external drive gives them extra storage, so it's all backed up, too.
It makes you wonder how much storage they actually need, right? Ah, okay, thanks for that. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a key detail. So they are stored on the PC temporarily.
And you're saying that they're copied to an external USB drive later.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is an 8 terabyte external hard drive, portable hard drive, SSD, solid state drive.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thanks for clarifying that for us.
Yeah, so it's an 8 terabyte external hard drive. That's a lot of space.
And it's a portable SSD, a solid state drive. That's really fast.
Right, so not only is it a large drive, but also very quick to copy files.
Okay, so they're using a portable 8 terabyte SSD. That's a lot of storage.
And that makes sense with all of those different video files from all the devices.
Oh, for sure. Especially with all of these different video files from all the devices.
Ah, okay, that's a great point. Thanks for adding that.
Yeah, so you're saying that the storage for all of those devices is separated?
Right, that makes a lot of sense. And it also keeps things organized.
Okay, so the storage isn't one big thing, but separated by each device, right?
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that makes for an efficient workflow.
And that really ties back into all that meticulous file management we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's a really important point, and we should definitely keep that in mind.
Okay, so you're saying there is separate storage for all those devices.
Yeah, that means each camera has its own storage, and the tablet, and even the phone.
Right, and it explains how they're managing all of that data, too.
Okay, so now we know how they're organizing all that storage.
And that makes sense with everything we've been talking about today.
Right, it really shows how they're handling all those different files.
Yeah, it's like they're staging everything on the PC before moving them.
And that also makes it easier to move things to that external drive.
So the PC is not for long-term storage, it's for the event.
Right, and after they're done, they move all the files. That's really smart.
Okay, so let's just really clarify this to make sure we have it right.
Okay, so you're saying that they use the PC to store all the files temporarily.
And then at the end, it's all transferred to a USB hard drive.
Exactly, so that's like a final place where it all goes.
And this makes sense for everything we talked about today. So many files.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's about efficiency.
Like having a clear system so they know where everything is.
And it makes you wonder how much storage they're using, right?
Okay, so let's dive into that. What is the storage capacity?
Well, we know they're dealing with lots of video files,
And that's from a lot of different devices, too.
right? And also audio, and all those screen recordings.
And that really helps to give us a complete view of the system.
And we know they have a... Oh, back to our listener. What's up?
Yes, and also PowerPoint and documentation that comes from the textbook of the class.
Ah, that's a great point. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, so it's not just the video and audio, but also all the class materials.
Right, like the PowerPoint presentations and the textbook info. That's a lot of stuff.
Exactly, and that really adds to all of those files that we were discussing.
So they're not... Oh, go for it.
Including a test bank with quizzes and midterm and final tests, both in printed format and also in online format in files with the tutorials.
Ah, okay, that's a fantastic detail. Thanks for adding that in.
Yeah, so it's not just the PowerPoints and textbooks, but tests too.
Right, you're saying that there are quizzes, midterms, and finals, both printed and online.
Wow, that's a whole other layer, like a complete learning package.
And that really does help us understand why they need all that storage.
So that 8 terabyte hard drive, that's not just for the video.
Oh, that's a really great point. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, so it's not just the videos and the presentations, the tests too.
Exactly. And that's in both printed and online formats, which is so interesting.
Right, like quizzes, midterms, and even final tests. That's a lot of files.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, it shows how much data they're managing.
Yeah, and it all has to be stored somewhere, right?
Right, it's for everything, all the PowerPoints, documents, and those tests.
And that really puts it in...
Oh, go for it.
Also, the textbook itself is a printed form as well as PDF files, and all these PDF files are broken by the chapter number. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and all of them are stored locally and in an LMS, learning management system like blackboard.com.
Okay, wow, that's a really great detail. Thanks for adding that in.
Yeah, so it's not just the tests, but the textbook is also in both print and PDF. Wow.
Right, and those PDF files are organized by chapter. That's really helpful.
And you're saying those are stored both locally and also on an LMS, like Blackboard. That's key.
So it's like a complete digital and physical library for the students.
And that really does add to that overall storage that we were discussing before, right?
Yeah, and they're separating the files by device, which is really smart and very organized.
Well, this also connects back to the software they're using, like that OBS software, right?
Right, to manage all those live streams and capture everything, and all of the course materials too.
And it's not just for recording, but also how they're structuring the class.
And it is also how they're organizing all the different content too, like the files you mentioned.
Yeah, so we've talked about all the devices, the mobile cart, the storage, the tests, and textbooks. Oh, yeah,
Also, OBS is not only a recording software, it is also a streaming server. So if they want, they can stream from a local host instead of using
okay, that's a really great point. Thanks for clarifying that for us.
Yeah, so it's not just for recording, but OBS is also a streaming server too. That's key.
Exactly, and that really puts things into perspective. It's a dual-purpose tool.
Okay, so it's not just capturing the video, but it's also sending it out too.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, it shows how they're managing the live stream.
Yeah, like it's not just recording, it's actually broadcasting it live too. Okay, that's a really great point. Thanks for chiming in.
Yeah, so you're saying that OBS isn't just for recording, it's also a streaming server too.
Okay, so it's not just capturing video, it's also sending it out to the world.
Exactly, and that really does change how we have to think about their workflow, right?
Right, it's like it's handling both ends, the recording and the broadcasting.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that makes OBS a really key piece of software in this CareUp. And that really ties into all the different devices and cameras we were talking about earlier.
Right, and that's a great way to think about it with the laptop too, and the class materials.
So it's handling the recording and also the live podcast.
Yeah, and with that in mind, we can unpack the rest of it, including the textbooks and tests.
Okay, so OBS is a streaming server and a recording software.
Yeah, and that really helps us understand how they're getting all that video to YouTube. Yeah, it's not just for recording the class, it's handling the live stream too.
And it also means they can use OBS for multiple purposes at the same time, right?
And it makes sense how they are using a PC to be able to run OBS in all of their systems.
Exactly. That PC on the tray is really important for all of this, you know?
Okay, so with that new information in mind, let's keep going.
So that really helps us understand the full picture of how everything works together. And it also explains why they need that laptop to run everything else, too.
Right, like it's all running at the same time, capturing and streaming and everything.
Yeah, so they are using OBS to broadcast the video and a PC to manage everything else.
And all of that ties into that 8 terabyte external hard drive too, right?
Exactly, and it really does connect to the tests and the textbooks, too.
Okay, so OBS is managing all the video feeds and streaming them live. Yeah, it's like the PC's the control center, and OBS is the main tool.
Right, and if we think about the videos, we know they're using a lot of cameras.
And all of that's happening in real time, or some of it is pre-recorded, right?
And we also know that the storage is separated by device, which is so smart.
Right, and it all gets moved to that external hard drive later, that SSD too.
And it's not just the video, but also the tests, the textbooks, all these course materials. And that clarifies how they're getting all of that footage online in real time.
Yeah, and with that in mind, let's keep going and unpack all of that.
So with OBS as a streaming server and a recording software, that really changes things.
Right, and it also explains how they're managing all of those different video files and textbooks too.
And it is all part of that whole portable system that they use for field trips and those class materials.
And with the PC, they can manage all the tests and the textbook PDF files too. Yeah, and that really gives us a clear picture of how much data they are dealing with.
And we know that OBS is a big part of all this, handling the recording and also the streaming.
Okay, so let's dive a little deeper into how they're using OBS and what that looks like.
Well, from the transcripts, we see that they are creating multiple YouTube windows, right?
Yeah, it's like separate ones for different types of video, like we talked about.
And that really makes you think about how they're using OBS to manage all of this. Yeah, so OBS is managing the video, and the PC is managing all the files and class materials.
So that gives us a much clearer picture of the whole process, right?
Okay, so let's dive in. With that new information in mind, what does it all mean?
Well, it all comes together with those live streams, right? That's all going up to YouTube.
Right, it's not just about the live class, but also the whole process, all the devices too.
So we have a class that's in person and online, and it's all recorded, including the tests and the textbook. Yeah, they might be using it to switch between the cameras.
Right, and maybe to add graphics or those pre-recorded elements to the live show too.
So it's not just capturing, but also mixing and creating a live experience.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it really shows the level of control they have.
And it makes you wonder what other types of software they're using too, right?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's something we should unpack further.
Like, what do they use for editing or to create the presentations?
Well, the files are all stored on the PC temporarily and then moved to the external drive.
And all of that is happening while they are teaching and also documenting.
So OBS is a key piece of the puzzle for streaming, but not the only piece of software.
Right, it's part of the whole system alongside PowerPoint and other things too.
And it really highlights that they're using a mix of software and hardware. Yeah, so it's a lot of data to store temporarily, including all the different tests and textbook files too.
And that's why they need that external hard drive as well, that's for sure.
Exactly, and if we connect that to the bigger picture, it's all for a smooth learning experience and those tests and textbooks.
Right, and it makes you wonder how they keep it all organized, all the class files and all the live stuff too.
Well, let's just unpack what we know about the software, right?
Yeah, so they use OBS for broadcasting and a PC for other software.
And it is all part of that portable system we were discussing, so many angles and perspectives.
And all of that's being captured with those different cameras and the laptop for everything, right?
And it's
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, in addition to that, they are using an LMS, learning management system, such as Blackboard.com, where all the information is stored on a server.
Oh, okay, that's fantastic. Thanks for adding that extra piece of information.
Yeah, so it's not just stored on their PC, but also on an LMS. That's great to know.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, an LMS really changes how we see things.
Right, like Blackboard is where the students access the course materials too.
Exactly, so it's a central hub for everything related to the class on a server.
It's like a virtual classroom with all the tests, the textbooks, and the videos.
Well, let's integrate that into everything we've already talked about.
Yeah, and it's all part of that mobile setup they're using for a classroom and also the field trips too.
Okay, so let's keep all that in mind and continue to unpack what is happening.
Right, and if we think back to the beginning, the files are date stamped and all organized too.
And now we know why with all that data that they are collecting from all of those devices, right?
Yeah, and it's all to give the best experience to the students, which is incredible.
Okay, so let's zoom in on OBS a little more. What else does it do?
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that's so important, especially for the tests and the textbooks.
It's really impressive how they've set everything up.
Yeah, and you were saying all the files are stored temporarily before moving to that external hard drive.
And all of the test files and the documents, too, that you were talking about? Wow.
So now we know it is not just videos, but also all the course materials, too, the tests and textbooks.
And that makes a lot of sense with everything that we've talked about today. So much data, including tests and books.
Well, we know it's a streaming server and a recording software, right?
And that it's used to combine all of those different video feeds.
So it's not just one thing, but all of those together.
And it's likely that they're using OBS to switch between cameras and all those other things, too.
It's like a control panel for the live broadcast and that laptop, all in one.
Exactly, and it makes sense how they need a whole PC for all of that as well.
And that also highlights the sheer amount of preparation that goes into the classes, right?
Yeah, it's all so complex, and it is all connected, including tests and all those PDF files.
So let's keep going. We've talked about all the tech and tests and the textbooks, too.
And also how they're capturing everything, and now about storage, too, and those textbook files, too.
And it really all comes together for the field trip.
Right, with all those devices, and that mobile cart, and the PC, too, and the textbook, too.
Yeah, so they are recording and broadcasting at the same time using OBS.
And that's a really big job, if we really think about all of it.
Right, and if we think about the field trips, they're doing all of that on the go.
So they're moving the mobile cart, and they are also managing all of that video, too.
It's like they're directing a live show.
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
Yes, they can add an additional luggage if the mobile cart is not sufficient. They can mount on top of the mobile cart a roller, a computer roller with a handle, and bundle both handles together, making it a more stable clamp wise, so the clamp cannot move when clamped to double handles of both the base, mobile cart, and the computer roller on top of it. Both handles are extended and linked together with additional spring-loaded clamps.
Wow, that's a really interesting solution. Thanks for that.
Yeah, that's really resourceful, using additional luggage and clamps.
Okay, so if the cart isn't enough, they can add another roller. That's great.
Exactly, and they can even bundle the handles together for extra stability.
It's like building a multi-tiered mobile workstation, right?
It makes sense how adaptable that portable setup is then. Great point.
And like you're saying, they make it even more stable with more clamps.
You're helping us to really get a sense of the video setup too,
Right, and they're using all of this tech during the field trip.
and the way they make sure it all stays in place with those rubber bands.
Okay, so it seems like the...
Hey, yeah, what's up?
Also in the classroom, it has to be rolled into a classroom, assembled quickly and used, and then at the end of the class, being folded quickly and taken out of the classroom to enable another professor or another instructor to come in and start teaching their class.
Ah, okay, that's a really great point. Thanks for adding that.
Yeah, so it's not just for the field trips, but also quick setup in the classroom.
Exactly, and that really highlights how efficient the whole system is, right?
So it needs to be quick to set up, used for class, then fold it away for the next person.
Yeah, it's like it has to be super easy and fast to use for any class.
Right, and that makes sense that it all needs to pack up quickly and easily.
And that also explains why it is all on a mobile cart, right?
Yeah, it really shows how much thought has gone into the design.
You're helping.
Ah.
Not only for any class, but also for any classroom. And sometimes for events like hotel conference rooms, where the instructor or the professor doesn't know in advance the setup in the class. So they come quickly with their mobile system and leave quickly.
That's a fantastic point. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, so it's not just any class, but any classroom, even a hotel conference room.
Right, like if the instructor doesn't know the setup, it's still easy to use. Wow.
Exactly, that really shows how flexible the whole thing is for unknown situations.
And it's designed to adapt to whatever the environment is like. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's like they've made it work in all kinds of situations, even for events.
Okay, so that makes even more sense now with those swiveling wheels we were talking about.
Right, so it's not just about mobility, but also ease of use, too. That's a really key point.
It is amazing to hear all the creative ideas being used for these flexible situations.
It's like they really,
Not only ease of use, but speed of use. It has to be done within a few seconds at the beginning of the class, set up, and at the end of the class to pack it up and leave for the next presenter.
Ah, okay, thanks for that addition. It is still of use in seconds.
Yeah, so you're saying the whole process needs to be super fast.
Exactly, from setup to teardown, they only have a few seconds.
Right, for both setting up and packing up between presenters. Wow.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that changes everything, right?
Like everything has to be quick and easy. It's not just about the class.
Exactly, so not only is ease of use important, but speed is key too.
Ah, okay, so you're saying it's not just for classrooms, but for all sorts of events.
Yeah, like hotel conference rooms where they might not know the setup beforehand.
That's a really great point. So that mobility is key, right?
Exactly, that really highlights how adaptable their system needs to be, right?
Okay, so this setup, it's not just for the classroom, but for all sorts of places, even hotels.
Yeah, and that explains why it all needs to be so portable and so flexible too.
Yeah, and if we zoom out, we can see how all of those pieces are connected, right, to these different locations.
And it is all to capture the best footage for the students too, no matter where they are.
Okay, so let's wrap it up. We have gone through so much today for sure, and those different locations.
Yeah, we talk about the tech, the cameras, and the software and how it all connects together.
And how they are streaming the class to the students using the mobile cart anywhere, even a hotel.
And how they're keeping everything organized with that external hard drive too for all the locations.
And that also explains why that cart is so easy to fold up as well and is always mobile.
So with that in mind, let's get back to unpacking this system and all of its different parts, including OBS.
Yep.
Yep, go
Yeah,
on.
the cart is very mobile since it has four 360 degrees wheels, but it has also brakes. So a couple of wheels have a brake on them. In case we don't want the cart to move, we press the brake and the cart remains stable. Even on a floor that is not flat, is in a diagonal, the cart won't move when pressed.
Oh, okay, that's really helpful. So it is very mobile and stable.
Yeah, so it's not just the wheels, but it has brakes too. Thanks for that.
And you're saying that the brakes keep it stable on uneven floors?
Right, so it can handle any environment because it has those brakes. That's great.
And it makes sense that it's all in that mobile cart for easy transport.
So with all of that in mind, let's keep diving into the videos themselves.
Yeah, so we know that they're using all of these different devices, right?
Right, and all of that is being managed by OBS and also the LMS too.
And they also have all those class materials that have to be managed.
Yeah, the tests, the textbooks, and the live stream too.
And they're also using a PC, so they can also stream from there. That's right.
And now we have a really detailed picture of the whole system. Oh yeah, that's a really great point. Thanks for bringing up the card itself.
Yeah, that's a really key detail. It's not just about moving, it is also about staying still.
Okay, so you're saying that the cart is really mobile, but also has those brakes too.
Exactly, so they can lock it in place whenever they need to.
Right, like it's not just rolling around all over the place, but also stable when they want it to be.
And you're highlighting that even on an uneven surface, it will stay put. And how they are using that for the field trips, that's amazing.
So hopefully you have a better understanding of what they're doing.
Yeah, and we are...
Oh yeah, go on.
The cameras are two types of cameras. Some are computer cameras, and others are independent of the computer. So when the computer crashes and you get the blue screen of death, the cameras that do not depend on the computer are still broadcasting live from outside the computer.
That's a really great insight. Thanks for letting us know that.
Okay, so you're saying that some cameras aren't computer dependent.
Exactly, and that makes a lot of sense.
So the external cameras keep going, even if the computer crashes. Wow.
And that really helps with the live stream. That's a clever setup.
Okay, so that's why there are different types of cameras.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, there's redundancy.
Yeah, like a backup system in case something goes wrong. Clever.
Yeah, that they can always have some sort of video input.
Okay, let's keep that in mind as we talk about all that equipment.
And they also have the laptop.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
In addition, there are multiple webcams connected to the computer with a USB hub. So there is a built-in camera in the computer plus several other
Oh, that's
webcams.
fascinating. So multiple webcams. That's a good point.
And you're saying they're connected with a USB hub.
Exactly. So they can connect more than the computer allows.
Right, so they could expand the number of camera inputs. Wow.
And that makes sense to switch quickly or have several angles.
Ah, okay, so they're not relying on the computer alone.
Yeah, and that way they can get all the different feeds.
So, with the potential for the blue screen of death, that's a plan?
Well, if we look back, that all started with the brakes.
True. And then that became about the webcam setup.
Right, and so that's a huge amount of planning just to get this all to work.
Right, we have explored everything from the cameras to the hotel setups.
And it's a really fascinating look at how they're using all this tech.
And that really shows how much work goes into setting up a single class.
Okay, so it's not just those swiveling wheels, but the brakes are key too.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's all part of that flexible design.
Yeah, like they can move it quickly, but also stop it wherever they need to for the class.
Right, and that's so important for those field trips and also for classroom situations too.
Okay, so it sounds like you're saying there's even more to it.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Thanks for chiming in with that little detail.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that explains all those camera feeds.
Right, it's not just one or two, but many using that USB hub.
So it seems like they really thought of every possible angle.
Yeah, it's like they've created multiple layers of backup.
Okay, so with those brakes in mind, let's keep going and unpack the rest of it.
So the cart is very mobile and also very secure when they need it.
So with everything we've discussed today, we can see how planned and organized they are.
And how that portable system is very important for those PDF files too.
Exactly, and they also need to use it quickly in any space, even in a hotel.
Yeah, so let's dive back into the videos and see how they all fit together.
That also clarifies why they have so much storage with all those different feeds.
And that really makes you think about the software they are using too.
Yeah, like how do they manage all of those different camera inputs?
Okay, let's unpack that, how they're getting all those video feeds at the same time.
Well, we know they're using OBS, which is for recording and streaming.
Right, and it is also a streaming server like you were saying.
So what do those videos look like? We know they're switching cameras, right?
Yeah, so with that in mind, we can dive into the next thing too.
Yeah, and that also really helps if they are in a place that is not totally flat.
Exactly, and with all of the tech on there, they definitely need that stability.
So it's not just that it can turn around easily, but also stay in place with the brakes.
Yeah, it's like they can move it quickly and then stop it immediately with the brakes as needed.
Okay, so let's get back to OBS. We know it's a streaming server and a recording software, right?
Yeah, and it's likely they're using it to manage multiple camera feeds too.
And that temporary storage is key for them, especially those hotel events.
Okay, so the PC stores everything temporarily to make the data mobile.
Right, and the USB drive is for longer term with an organized system.
And that really brings us back to the video files they're using.
And we know that some of those cameras are independent of the PC.
Yeah, so they'll keep broadcasting even if the computer has a problem. That's smart.
So they're using OBS to bring all of those different feeds together.
And that also really shows why they have a PC with a USB hub.
And all of that ties into that 8 terabyte external hard drive too.
So it's not just the cameras, but how they're all connected up.
Right, we have the live video and those separate recordings too.
Yeah, and we also know they have pre-recorded video and a phone and a tablet.
And if we think about the logistics, it's a lot to manage at once.
So they're back to our listener. What's up?
Yes, and there is also a docking station with additional USB port, a network port, a video, HDMI, in case we want to mirror the image on a television screen and so on.
That's a fantastic point. Thanks for adding that detail.
So there's also a docking station with even more ports.
Right, that way they can expand the options, right? Like that HDMI port.
And that HDMI means that I can mirror to a television screen.
It's like they've thought of everything and all the ports in that HDMI.
So with all those cameras, they can use that HDMI port on the TV. Wow.
Okay, so it's not just the USB hub, but also this docking station too.
Yeah, and that really does give them a lot of connectivity in that HDMI port.
It's like they're building this system from many different pieces and an HDMI.
And now we know that they have a backup plan in case something crashes, like HDMI.
Right, and that really shows how prepared they are for anything in that HDMI cord.
So,
go for it.
Yeah, like a docking station from J5 Create that has multiple ports, including USB-C, USB-A, HDMI, VGA, and also micro SD card and a SD card slot.
yeah, you're talking about a J5 Create docking station.
Right, those have a ton of different ports. That's a great point.
You're pointing out those different connections like HDMI and VGA.
Right, like you said, the USB-C and USB-A and all those things too.
So with all that in mind, we should keep going. Oh, go for it.
And another important port is the network port for 10 base T cable to connect it to a network of a hotel or a classroom.
Okay, wow, that's another great detail. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, and that network port is key to connecting everything.
So with that Ethernet cable, they can connect to any network.
Yeah, and you're saying it's helpful for hotels and classrooms too.
Right, so they aren't relying on the Wi-Fi, which might not be great.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that wired connection is stable.
Okay, so let's integrate that into everything else that we've talked about.
Yeah, they have that J5 Create docking station and now the network.
And you're also saying that they're...
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
In addition to the network connection and streaming using the TCP/IP, when the network and the internet are down, they can use the cellular network to broadcast from the phone. So they can still broadcast even though the internet is down.
That's a really great addition. Thanks for letting us know about that.
Yeah, so it's not just the wired connection for streaming. That's great.
Exactly. In addition to the network connection using the TCP/IP.
Right, if the network or the internet is down, they have a backup.
They can use the cellular network to broadcast from the phone.
Okay, so they're prepared for anything with multiple... Oh yeah, let's hear it.
In addition to that, the RealWare from realware.com also has its own SIM card. So if a Wi-Fi is not available, that can use the SIM card in a modem to stream and broadcast it live using the cellular network.
That's amazing. Thanks for telling us about that SIM card.
Yeah, so not just the phone, but the RealWare tablet too.
Exactly. That really shows how dedicated they are to streaming.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's very resourceful.
Okay, so with that new information in mind, let's keep going.
All of the details that you are sharing are interesting.
Right, we know that they have the J5 Create docking station.
And now we see how they can use cellular for that streaming too.
You're really helping us to think through how they make it work.
Yeah, that RealWare tablet also has its own SIM card.
Right, like in addition to all of that, there's a backup for the backup.
Right, like if the network goes down, they can use that SIM.
So they're using that cellular network from RealWare too.
It's like they have a plan A, plan B, and even a plan C and D.
Exactly, it's like they're prepared for anything that could go wrong.
And there are those different scenarios that they've planned for.
Okay, so it's not just about those wired connections we were talking about.
So the tablet has its own SIM card with its own modem. That's smart.
And then the phone has its cellular connection as another backup.
With all of your help, we are getting a better understanding.
Yeah, so we're talking about a class with a lot of tech.
Yeah, and how they connect to YouTube and all the SIM cards.
That also is for field trips with cameras and has a laptop on a cart.
And a docking station with multiple ports, like HDMI for a TV screen.
Yeah, and the PC is also managing the textbook files too.
They can switch cameras quickly, there's a backup for everything.
All of that's happening at the same time, and it's great to see.
It is complex, but well-planned, adaptable, and now we know it all.
This system is about using multiple methods to connect.
It's for classrooms, field trips, and those hotel conference rooms.
The cart is mobile, but also has brakes, so it can stay still.
Now we need to remember that some cameras have backups.
So with the potential for the blue screen of death, you always have video.
Cameras that don't depend on the computer always broadcast live.
It is not just tech. The people, the instructor, and the students too.
Time to get back to talking about the videos themselves.
So much planning to get this all to work together.
We can't forget how resourceful they are with those clamps.
So let's get back to OBS, which is central to this.
Combining video angles connects to that J5.
Not just showing, but interactive with the J5 ports as well.
Like a show and not just a lecture for the students.
How do they manage all of that videos that we were talking about?
They're using OBS. It is all part of one big system.
In addition to all of that, the cellular networks can stream.
Let's look at the source material to see what we can find.
Let's dive in, and you're helping us get there.
We know they're uploading a ton of videos to YouTube.
With J5 connections to monitors, it isn't on the PC for long.
And that makes for an efficient and well-organized workflow.
They also have audio with a phone and a vanity number.
All of those different video sources need to come together.
Everything connects for the student in every scenario.
Let's get back to those videos and what they look like.
We know they're using all of the different camera angles to do this.
They are also mixing live footage with pre-recorded parts, too.
The phone always films the instructor in all the areas.
So it's a class, but also kind of a show.
We're thinking they're switching between different camera views.
The phone could be filming the instructor. The other cameras film.
All of this is happening during the field trip, too.
They have a system for every area to set up in with ease.
A PC with a USB connection for every piece that connects to the stream.
All of it is for the students to get the best experience.
To get the right footage and for the best cellular connections.
A great and unique experience that is being put on. Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Another important point is the vanity phone number is included in the title of the video files, so it is easy to stop the SERP, search engine results page, using SEO, search engine optimization.
Ah, okay, that's a really insightful point. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, so you're saying they include the phone number in the title? That's smart.
Right, and that helps them with search engine optimization. That's really key to understand.
Like, it makes it easier for people to find their videos, right?
Exactly, and it shows us thinking about how to reach a wider audience.
Ah, okay.
Hey, yeah, what's up?
So they can top the SERP, search engine results page, with the videos, and all the students have to do is go to YouTube and type the keyword, and that will top the search engine results page, and click on it unauthenticated and view the live class, and click in and out within a few seconds without having to authenticate themselves on an LMS learning management system.
That's a great way to phrase it. Thanks for chiming in.
So students can quickly jump in and out of the class, right?
Yeah, without needing to log in, it's about easy access.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's not just about teaching.
It is about discoverability, using the vanity number.
So they can tap the search engine results page.
It gets more people into the classroom. Very insightful.
Let's integrate this into everything we have discussed today.
Thank you. This really is helping everything come together.
The vanity number in the title gets it seen by everyone.
It is like another method to get more people to view class,
We need you here with us, with your great insights.
to see what we are missing, and also to catch our mistakes.
We are glad that you have joined us for another great show.
And let's get back to those plans that we had for this show.
What you were with us to talk about, the videos.
Thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks to you and your constant help, for sure.
Let's get back to you and all that helpful feedback.
As we end our stream, we can reflect on this tech world.
All that we have learned and the connection they're using.
And you joined us to share those insights you're bringing.
Remember to continue to always learn and always adapt.
And remember, they have the number available, too.
In video form, they can also search that number too.
You have helped a lot in our work. We will see you on our next show.
We appreciate you for the help today.
Goodbye, and have a great rest of the day.
Keep learning as much new content as you can.
We now have great closure, and we'll see you in a bit.
Okay, so I stopped the recording on the Loom cloud recording system, and now we're testing it to see how good or bad it is. I pasted the URL of Loom in my notes on WordPad, and now I want to paste it also on Psar, problem step recorder. So I start a new recording system and I add it as a comment in the highlight area and comment dialog box. And then I'm ready to play it back and to listen to it. Let's see how good is the recording on this Loom. But before I do that, I want to go and copy my entire notepad. I'm going to select all, then copy to the clipboard, and then I want to paste it into the Loom notes. So I want to go to Loom, where's my Loom? I'm going to my Loom, and I'm not sure. Here's my Loom. I'm going to blow it up full screen and play it back in 2.5 speed.
It really is, and it just goes to show what we're seeing here. It's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's so much happening behind the scenes, right? With the digital expertise, it takes a lot of work to create this stuff we see online.
It's like we're getting this secret glimpse behind her.
Yeah.
But all this like tech stuff, there's little human things that pop up. Like, what are those teeth they keep talking about? They're like leaning them with their shirt.
Yeah, that is a weird one. If I had to guess, based on what else they're talking about, it's
And now I stop the Loom playback. It is pretty good, and I paste in my notes as a comment first, and later on as a summary. So I click the Add Summary button and paste the notes. Then I scroll to the very bottom and add chapters. Add 3 chapters by default and save them. And then add tags. The first tag is videos. The second tag is intelligence. The third tag is site. The fourth one is videos again. Oh, remote. And then plane. And then inspection. And then lanyard. And then in. And that's it. 10 tags. So by now I finished everything with a Loom recording, and it is perfectly good. So the next thing I'm doing, I'm going to stop the recording on Cyberlink and listen to it. So I'm pressing that, waiting for it to stop, and then double clicking to listen.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, maybe they're using like some really high-level tech stuff, you know, like virtual machines or remote desktop connections, maybe to like handle different parts of this process at the same time. Wow.
I mean, it's incredible the lengths people go to.
It really is, and it just goes to show what we're seeing here. It's just the tip of the iceberg.
So this is perfectly good, so I'm closing that. And then I'm going to the next recording system, which is Webcam Max, and stop its recording. Then wait for it to render. And I'm going to paste it, listen to it. It sounds pretty good. So then I can close it. Finally, I'm going to stop MSN recorder. I don't want to upload it yet, and I want to play it back to listen to it.
A bunch of different devices to their computer, and then they're uploading it to YouTube.
Yeah, it's like we get to peek into not just the steps they're taking, but all.
And that is perfectly good.
Bye.
So by doing that, I'm done with everything, and I'm ready to wrap it up. I'll wrap it up by stopping the bizarre problem step recorder, saving it and making it a version B. So I'm going to put in the letter B, the subscript to the year. So the year reads 2025 sub B. Then I add at the current time. I started at about 5 p.m. and now the current time is about 6:27 p.m. So it's more or less an hour. Oops. Then I want to mark the path of psr.txt, copy to the clipboard, and insert it into my notes at the first position of the file name. Then mark it all, copy to the clipboard buffer, and then enter to save it. Then I can click review additional details and scroll up to see that were 3 steps at the end. So I'm going back to my notes and I'll paste it into my notes as another subfolder in the list. Paste it, maybe color it in a different color since this is the last one. Make it stand out a little more, so I'll color it in blue instead of green. Okay. Save it again, and basically I'm done. I can also select all again, copy to the clipboard, and then stop the other recording. Copy the other URL and play it back in 2.5 speed.
Summary, so I do the summary button, and paste the notes, then I scroll to the very bottom, and add chapters, add 2 chapters by default and save them, and then add tags. The first tag is videos, the second tag is intelligence, the third tag is site, the fourth.
Now I need to swap and recharge my battery for the 360 camera. And insert another battery. Make sure I place it correctly. And then pop up the micro SD card. Check my goggles to see if I have another empty micro SD card. making sure that now I can save my media to my notes. Now I want to create a subfolder for the media. So we will call all of this subfolder notebook, note, book, ML. $364K, that'll be good enough for a short name. Maybe lanyard also. One other thing I don't need is the multiple time. This will be PM. So now I'm going to go to videos. $360, new folder, and paste the new name. Today's 2-3. No, this is wrong. This is 2-5. Oh shit. Rename. Fine. This is the correct day. Copy. And then go to Galaxy, black, and paste with Explorer. No, excuse me, this is wrong. I should have gone to purple and paste with Explorer. What is it there? It takes so long. Okay, and that's right. In the meantime, I'm going to explore the possibility to save it in my folder of 100 VR 360 by opening another instance of File Explorer to see if I can find the DCIM, expand DCIM, and go into the VR to find 8 subfolder here, starting from 1, shift to the last, cut it from the micro SD card, and trying to paste it into my hard drive. I'm not sure which instance I should use, but let's check out this one. No. Okay, I want to go into videos. And then inside videos to 100 VR 360 and today's date, and paste with Explorer. The next thing that I want to do is repeat the same thing, but this time by stripping the media off of my phone. So I'm going to stop the recording on this phone. I'm going to remove the rubber bands from it. Stop the recording.